Coming to the cohort study, it is from the cause to the effect. That is, whether the exposure factor or the causative factor is causing the disease or not. It is of two types, prospective cohort study and retrospective cohort study. Prospective cohort study, that is, we are going from present to the future. For example, in uranium mine exposures, whether the outcome, that is, whether they are going to develop lung cancer or not, so that we have to follow up from the present to the future. Whereas in retrospective, from the past to the present, that is, the outcome is already present in the present. That is, if already the lung cancer is developed in the present, but in order to know the cause of this, we are going to the past and selecting the cohort in the past and coming from the past to the present. That is, we are coming from the cause to the effect. Past to present. Prospective, present to future outcome. Whereas in retrospective, already the outcome is present in the present and going to the past and again coming to the present. First, we need to select the study objects from general population or special groups. In general population, we select if the cause of death is frequent in that population. They are selected from defined geographical, political and administrative areas. And in coming to special groups, they are again of select group and exposure group. In select group, we select the homogeneous population like professional groups like doctors, lawyers, engineers and all, because the accessibility is easy and the follow-up is also easy in this population. Dawes prospective study is the example on the British doctors, whereas Dawn in veterans in United States is another example. Coming to exposure group, if there is rare exposure, we select these groups. Example, radiologist exposed to the X-rays. And then coming to obtaining data. We obtain data by records, reviewing records like dose of radiation, kinds of surgery and details of the medical treatment. Whereas next by interviewers or questionnaires, medical examination like BP, ECG, serum cholesterol, then environmental study, in obtaining information of the exposure levels of suspected factors in the environment where the cohort live. That is, in environmental survey, we are going to study the environment in which the cohort is living, like in the persons working in the industries, the risk factors or the exposure factors we are going to study, and we compare this with groups so that we need to select. They are internal, external or from general population. Internal in the sense we are comparing within the cohort. Cohort is nothing but a group of people in a specified time or a specified period. If it is a birth cohort, that is group of persons who are born in that specified period or that same day. Whereas exposure cohort is persons exposed to a common drug or a virus or infection within a defined period. Marriage cohort, a group of males or females married on the same day or in the same period of time, it is called as marriage cohort. Cohort is a group of people who share a common characteristic or experience within a defined time period, like age, occupation, exposure to drug, pregnancy or all. So if the comparison is within the cohort, it is called internal, and if it is with external group, it is called external comparison group. If the information is not available on the degree of exposure, we compare with that of other group. Example in smokers and non-smokers. And whereas in radiologists, exposure is rare. So we compare the cohort of radiologists with a cohort of ophthalmologists. If none is available, then we go for general population. Example, comparison of lung cancer among uranium workers with that of general population. Then comes follow-up. Follow-up is by hospital records or death records, questionnaires, telephone calls, or periodic medical examination of each member of the cohort. But it's relatively tough doing the follow-up because the people may migrate or they may die or they lose interest. Then comes analysis. In cohort study, we can analyze the incident rates as well, whereas in case control, only exposure rates are studied. In an incident rates, these are smokers, non-smokers, develop lung cancer A, those who are smoking, and those who do not develop lung cancer are B, and those who develop lung cancer among non-smokers C, and those who do not develop lung cancer among non-smokers D. Total number of smokers is A by B and total number of non-smokers is C by D. Incidence. Incidence is number of new cases by population at risk. So among smokers, the number of new cases are A by total number of population at risk. These smokers are at risk, so A by B. Whereas in non-smokers, it is number of new cases C by total number of population at risk, that is C by D. Then coming to estimation of risk. Relative risk and attributable risk. Relative risk is incidence among exposed by incidence among non-exposed. A by B by C plus D. It tells about the strength of association between the causative factor and the disease. Then comes attributable risk. Attributable risk is, it tells how much the disease can be prevented. If there is more risk due to that causative factor to that disease, then the disease can be prevented by eradicating or not, by reducing the risk of the risk factor. Example, if there is lung cancer, if the attributable risk is 91.4%, that is the association between the smoking and lung cancer is the risk of smoking, the risk of lung cancer due to smoking is 91.4%. So on reducing the risk of smoking or reducing that smoking, we can prevent lung cancer. But whereas in CHD, coronary heart disease, attributable risk is just 13.3%. That is, the risk between the smoking and CHD is very little. So it tells that this disease cannot be prevented as much as lung cancer. And attributable risk is incidence among exposed minus non-exposed by exposed.